Hi, Merry me. So, I'm trying out another um, video recording software here, so I hope this will turn out well. Also, before I start the video, I just want to give a little nod to my favorite teacher when I was in school. I thought of her because I'm wearing this necklace today. And this necklace she gave me when I was about 14. This was the first piece of occult slash gothic jewelry I ever owned. And I just wanted to mention it because she's a Christian. So for all of those that have, say, all Christians look down on all pagans, no. She actually supported, well, my interests very much. And I just wanted to say thank you. I'm not going to say your name because you might not want that, but I still have this, and if you should ever watch this video, so know that I still cherish this and I still think of you. So yeah. Anyway, this is going to be a book review. The book I want to review is If You Want to Be a Witch by Edain McCoy. I'm not completely sure how her name is to be pronounced. I think it's Edain. And basically what this is, it's very basic starter book for something, what I would call Wiccanish. Now, I have explained this in videos before, what my definition of Wiccanish is. It's basically witchcraft slash paganism that's very much based on Wicca, but doesn't follow the teachings completely. And some might call this Wicca. I don't. I think you need more of Gardner's original work to call it that, but that's we can argue definitions until we turn blue. And that mightn't be fun. Turning blue, I mean. Anyway, let's get to the book. So, what you get in this book is basic instructions for how to start doing witchcraft. The book is well written. The language is very flowing, so it's easy to read. And it does cover quite a bit, a number of subjects. However, since this isn't the biggest book in the world, let me see how many pages it is. And yes, that is Asperger thing that I always have to check the page count of the book. It's 254. So the subject doesn't go in a lot of detail on each subject. So we might just have a look at the index to see what's in this book. It's an introduction, and it's in the beginning. What next? Starting your own book of shadows, challenging your mind, the student witch. Chapter 2, the birth and rebirth of witchcraft. Everything all is new again, a critical eye on craft history, ethnic cultures within Wicca, making your own history. Chapter 3, a witch's life, taking time out, meditative consciousness and grounding, the reed and threefold law, magic in Wicca. So this book do claim to be Wiccan. I'm more in favor of calling it Wiccanish, but like I said, that's my opinion and not a universal thing here. If people want to go by this book and call themselves Wiccan, I'm definitely not gonna say you are not. Anyway, chapter 4, the power of ritual. Here we have sacred spaces, what witches do, the sabbats, what witches do, the esbats. Then we have chapter 7. Are you a good witch or a bad witch? It's basically a chapter on the morality. It has this hard non-realistic goal, shades of grey, being a good witch, black and white as magical colors, green magic. And we have chapter 8, the basics of divination, how divination works and divination methods. Then we have the physics of magic, uh, avoiding consequences, six prerequisites for successful spellcraft, the 6 magical skills, putting it all together, when not to practice magical skills. Chapter 10, and The Craft of the Wise, The Ancient Art of Healing, Magical Herbalism, and The Scottish Play, Simple Quantum Magic, choosing the best color for your magic, what to do when a spell fails. Then you have Chapter 11, Do You Still Want to Be a Witch? Finding more answers and questions, coming out of the broom closets, time and tests for introspection. And the last chapter is taking your first steps into witchcraft. Beyond your year and a day, if you need more help, be careful what you wish for. Witchcraft is hard work. Networking, studying groups and cover. Seek and ye shall find. Begin your quest for the right tool. Your year and a day. Then you have Appendix 1, Herbs and Gemstones. Appendix 2, Moon Signs. Appendix 3, Resources. Appendix 4, Glossary. Common and Common Witchcraft Terms. Appendix 5, Suggested Reading. And we have an index. So, what are the good points and the bad points of this book? But like I said, it does cover a lot. It basically covers everything you need to start your practice. But it's shallow. Now, if you look at books like, for example, Wicca Guide to the Solitary Practitioner by Garrett Gardner, that book manages to be very thorough, even if it isn't a very big book, and it does cover a lot of subjects. It does cover each of the subjects pretty well. Of course, it's not like you'll become an expert, but it does cover it pretty well. While this book, it sort of feels very shallow to me. However, on the good point, it does have everything you need to start practicing. If you have this and you're well, you can start. It also have quite a good deal of suggested resources and so on, and a big section in the back is covered just with basically suggested reading. It's a suggested reading list of that goes from 235 to 242. So that's a very good thing when you're going to start practicing. Now, is this book worth anything for somebody who is not a ranked beginner? Well, I thought it was a fun read, and I think it's definitely things in here that are interesting. For example, Edain here has an interesting idea when it comes to black and white magic. It's not necessarily an idea I agree with, but it's a point of view that I definitely think I'm richer from having read. And it's basically instead of seeing it as light and dark magic or as negative and positive magic, she attaches color correspondences to it. I'm not sure if I agree with that. I feel that magic is magic, and it's what you use it for that is important. But for what it is, that is very interesting. There is some very interesting articles in this book that I definitely think can be useful for anyone. However, all in all, this is a beginner's book. And as a beginner's book, I think it's decent. I definitely don't think this is one of the best beginner's books there are out there. I think that both the aforementioned Wicca Guide to the Solitary Practitioner, the Big Blue Book written by Raymond Buckland, and both of those two are far better beginner books. But for what it is, it's a decent beginner book, and usually you can find these in bargain bins and so on and find it quite cheap. So I think that really what I would recommend this book as is, first of all, if you are starting out, I think that you should start out with more than one book, because it's very easy to get trapped in one author's point of view if there's only one book you work with. let's say you buy one of the Scott Cunningham books, or one of the Raymond Buckland books, or or the Wicca, the Old Religion in the New Millennium book, or one of the one of the better beginner books. I would actually recommend you getting this book in addition, because it gives another point of view. However, like I said, it's decent, but it isn't great. So it is not a book I would go out of my way to getting. It's shallow, but it has a very good suggested reading list, and it does cover a lot of fields, and it has some very interesting articles. So I got this second hand and pretty cheap, and for what I got it for, I definitely think it's worth it, even if I've been studying for quite some time. It's not a bad book, but it's not a book I would put on that this is a must-read book for pagans list. So it's a book that's, I mean, it's hard to review it because it's just sort of okay. I mean, it's much easier to review something I either love or hate, because then I usually have a lot of things to say about it. This is just sort of okay. It contains all you would suspect. It contains how to cast a circle, how to do seasonal rituals, all of these things, how to meditate, all of the basic information is in here. And I don't really have that much to say about the book. It's pretty okay. I mean, I saw a reviewer that reviews anime, and he had the same problem with one of the animes he was reviewing. Basically, he said it was a difficult one to review because it was okay. It didn't have a lot of things to complain about, but nor did he have a lot of things to really praise the book for. And really that's what I feel here too. I don't have anything to complain about. The information is solid. It's perhaps a little bit fluffy. Yeah, the book is a little bit on the fluffy side, but I don't really mind that. For a beginner, it's okay. It contains what you need to start, but it feels a bit shallow. And so I'll give this book, If You Want to Be a Witch by Edain McCoy, 6 out of 10. And I recommend that if you can find it cheap, pick it up. If you have to pay full price for it, skip it. There are better books out there. So yeah. The only thing that is better with this one than the other books I mentioned is the suggested reading list, which is very thorough. So yeah. Anyway, hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope the new recording software I'm using hasn't fucked the video completely up. Have a great day, and blessed be.